follow.
Jealousy.
Jealous of what?
You're jealous of everybody, including your friend Laura. Just jealous.
Of what?
You're even comparing your child to her child.
I came to support
My friend,
someone you were there trying to badmouth.
We're rest.
Why?
Yeah, she compared us to Laura. Why are you having a complex with me? I think I'm better than who? I think I'm better than who? I think I'm better than who? What's your complex? I think I'm better than who?
Try me. I will slap your fucking face.
I do not fuck with my family. But forget camera, I would change it. But the thing that a bit pissed me off was like, oh, that I want to use somebody's star. Calling Chioma over and over again, don't come. Don't put your bag there or don't do this or else she's going to use your star. People like them, they use jazz.
What did I just watch? What did I just watch? People's mother came out and they call it reality show to embarrass and disgrace themselves. Hey! No. See, I love the entertainment. Like, they're here to entertain us, but see, I give them kudos though. Acting is not easy. Like, acting is not easy. For you to get that money, for you to get the moolah, you have to do certain things that when you do, you come back and you sit down and ask yourself, did you do this? Did I do this or did I not do this? It is real. This is real Housewives of Lagos. Like, I'm not, what's the right word now? I'm not like when they first told us that there's going to be real Housewives of Lagos, in my head I'm like, Real Housewives of Lagos. Hope these guys will not come and be forming. Like, I'm not disappointed. That is the word I've been looking for. Why did disappointment just leave my head? I'm not disappointed by what just played out in the Real Housewives of Lagos. Like, what? I'm still in shock. Like, shock is still my name. Although I'm kind of still disappointed with Uti and the producers of this reunion. I expected so much from the reunion. I don't know why this reunion was rushed. Just 2 episodes after giving us... How many episodes was the show? I think the show was like 10 or 11 episodes. And then you're just giving us 2 episodes of reunion. I think we deserve more. Like, there are so many things that they were supposed to talk about, they didn't talk about. One of the things they're supposed to talk about is why Laura was giving us that whole attitude in the show. Some people say she's pregnant, but I don't know. I've not seen those signs because I follow her on Instagram. I've not seen those signs of pregnancy. Why Laura was giving us those attitude or that attitude, they didn't talk about it. They didn't talk about Toyin, it's not Toyin, what's her name again? Caroline's bracelet. They just talked about it briefly. I don't know why they spoke about it briefly, but if I remember me to talk about it, I feel, okay, let me just talk about it because I might forget. I feel they spoke about it briefly because if you remember very well, when Caroline talked about it on the show, when the show was still airing, so many people came out and said, with which money? Because she said it was about $43,000, and if you convert it, that is about, let me check. Hey, I converted it though, but I've forgotten how much I converted. But let me just convert it for people again. How much is dollar this time around? I think dollar is 600 and something. But let's just leave it at 600. So Caroline said it's 43,000 times 600. So we have 25,800,000. So when Caroline told us the cost of this bracelet, so many people actually went, who dashed out that kind of money, who gave you this or who gave. So I think that's why they didn't want to really push on it. But I feel they should have actually spoken about it. They should have spoken extensively about it. Then they didn't even talk about the whole Caroline and Chioma, what started the fight. Caroline and Iyabo, what started the fight. They didn't talk about Caroline and the crew, because there's that rumor that Caroline had issues with the crew. They didn't talk about it. They were just rushing everything. Did they tell, wait first, did we tell people that we are tired of watching? Like, we are invested in this. We're investors. We want to invest. So why are people just rushing this whole thing? Say, I don't understand why they rushed it. So let me just go to... I've been rambling, right? So let me now go and dissect this reunion, season 2, the whole reunion. So the whole show started with Uti actually asking the housemates who he would have been if he was one of the housemates. Like, if he's to be one of the housemates, which of the housemates? If he was to be one of the housewives, which character would he have been?
I have a fun question to ask. If I was a real housewife, which character do you think I would be on the show out of all of you? Who do you think I would most likely be like?
And then Iyabo said Uti would have been Caroline, Toyin. Uti would have been Caroline, Laura, and Chioma. Chioma in the sense that Chioma is a fashion person, and Uti is a fashion person. Then Laura now goes ahead to say, if it is Uti will be Yabo because Uti likes to drag people. Like, if Uti drags you on social media, see your edges. Don't laugh at my edges, thank you. Just leave my edges alone, thank you. If Uti drags you on social media, your edges will just go back. Uti has not dragged you, that's not why my edges are back. Thank you.
We'll mix just a bit of her, and of her.
Wow. Did you agree? I was waiting for it because I have my own online wearing.
If Uti drags you, really.
That's true. I've changed.
If Uti drags you, you can't think of your life.
So, Uti that was I had to ask Caroline, what's up? Who do you think I would have been if I was one of the housemates? And Caroline said, you know what? I think I just wanted I would want it to be a new person, a new housewife. I think Caroline is already exhausted with this whole housewife. That's why she said, I would have preferred that you'll be someone new, basically, because she's tired. She has had it up to here. So baby girl is tired. So we now moved on to the whole issue between, should I say issue, the whole competition between Chioma and what's her name, Toyin. Hey, this is the one I saw and I'm like, excuse me, it hasn't gotten to this. Like, I was disappointed at Toyin first and foremost, because even when they showed us like what they were going to show us like this week, we saw that fight. I thought it was one serious gang thing that would have caused that Toyin standing up to go and meet Chioma. So we now see Toyin and Uti asked the whole what's up with the whole competition between Toyin and Chioma, and then Chioma went ahead to say, you know what, see, it's not like I'm in competition with Toyin. Toyin is not, her dress sense is not it's not my own type of dress sense. Toyin is someone that would wear crayon. She's not saying it out of hate, but she loves Toyin's artistic work. But Toyin and Chioma, that means Chioma was saying Toyin and herself are completely different when it comes to fashion. So she didn't understand why Toyin was actually saying that, oh, Chioma comes late so that she can make a grand entrance. That's not that. That was not what happened. That she coming late most of the time is not her fault, and she's not coming late because she wants to make a grand entrance.
You can't outshine me, blah blah blah. I just felt like no one's even looking to, I wasn't even watching what you were doing. No one's even looking to outshine you in the first place, you know. I did find it a bit shocking that she felt that way. So yeah, I'm not in competition.
Whenever she comes, she can always make a grand entrance, but it's not because she wants everybody to know who or know that she has arrived. That's why she actually comes in. And then Toyin now goes ahead to say that it was Chioma that first talked about competition and all of that. See, they were just talking left, right, center, like they were just going back and forth about who is competing with this person and all of that. But let's tell ourselves the truth. And the truth is that while on the show, I feel Toyin was looking for the right word to say here. I think Toyin felt that there was a competition in her head. There was this silent competition between her and Chioma. For whatever reasons, I do not know why Toyin was actually feeling that there was that competition. And I don't want to even know the reason why Toyin actually felt that. Because it's just human instincts. Let me just put it this way. There's some people you just see and you just start being in competition with them. Just like that. Like nothing has ensued between two of you. But you just feel like, this person, why is this person like this? I think I should compete with this person. But there's a way you would actually put it and it becomes a positive competition. But I think Toyin went about it the wrong way. You like somebody, you want to emulate somebody, you like the person's dress sense, yes, but it's not about going about it in a negative direction.
I noticed like you're so bothered by my dressing.
And that's why you asked me to make something for you because I'm bothered.
Yes, because every time I walk in, it's like you have an issue. You're uncomfortable.
Issue.
I'm a star maker. Like, what's my business with you?
My dear, how are you myself to do what I said? Everybody knows. Yes, the problem is star maker because that's what I do.
So Chioma went ahead to say that why would Toyin actually be showing her collection during Lara's fashion show, knowing fully well that Lara is her friend? That it wasn't making any sort of sense. And truly, even when that thing showed, I was like, why would Toyin actually be doing this? If Lara is your friend, you shouldn't be showing someone your own collection. Like, you're trying to downgrade your friend's work, right, by doing this. So Toyin's explanation now during the reunion is that it's not like she wanted to show Chioma the collection, but because Chioma had asked her to show her collection, like Chioma wanted her to make something for her, she now brought out her phones and was trying to show Chioma the collection. And Chioma in her defense said, yes, I wanted you to make something for me because you always seem like there's a competition between the two of us. So make something for me, like make something so that I will see what you can do. And they just kept going back and forth. You did not show me. That was not what led to you showing me. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's okay, I've heard enough of it. Then Miriam, see, at this point in time, I felt Miriam was just trying to show herself. Miriam was just trying to make everybody know that, see, I am still here, in as much as I might not say anything, but you should just notice that I am here. Miriam said, you know what, ladies, it's okay. Uti, can we cut? He told the producers, you know what, cut.
We have to move on now. We have to move on now. Camera cut. We have to. I actually designed your boots you want to buy. I actually designed the pink suit for you, but I'm jealous of you. I'm jealous of you. At the end of the day, you are clearly.
In my head, I'm like, Miriam, are you the producer? Like, who said you work? Yes, I know that's Caroline and Toyin's conversation was really getting tiring. It was very tired. But I don't know who gave Miriam the audacity to actually say, you know what, Uti, cut, producers, cut. And then when they were, you know, funny, after she said that thing, they kept quiet, and then they now started again. That's Toyin and Chioma. They started again talking. And I'm like, it's okay now. This what you are even arguing about doesn't even make sense. Even Toyin went ahead to say that she went to Bras and Coppers, that is the restaurant that Chioma owns, and she ate bad meat, and she did not come out to tell anybody that the meat was bad. So why is Chioma now bringing bad publicity to her business? I mean, I'm like, okay, is this the right place to actually say it? I also now trying to spoil her business because in quotes she's actually spoiling your business, of which I do not see how Chioma actually spoiled Toyin's business. Please, in case you know how Chioma spoiled Toyin's business by saying that, please let me know in the comment section. Maybe I missed it, but I'm very sure I did not miss it. I just felt it's just Laura Toyin playing with herself. So next thing is that we see Miriam walking out and telling Uti, like, you know what, Uti, I'm going out to have a cigarette. I'm head and like, was that really called for? Like, are you joking about it? I know Miriam is like, she's the life of the party. She's one person that you should have as a friend, you get. But at the same time, I feel she was just trying to show herself too much at this point in time. So next thing is that we're seeing Toyin and Chioma still going at each other about this whole showing of competition and all of that, and then everybody was just talking left, right, center. It wasn't just making any sort of sense. I felt that Uti was not in charge of the show, because at a point in time he wanted to say, oh, a Twitter user actually said this, but because of the voices of Toyin and Chioma, he couldn't even say it. So he was not in charge of it. It felt like the housewives were in charge of it. Yes, I understand that sometimes you give a lead and then you allow people actually take charge, like, but it was not getting too much. Yes, you've given us a clue, or you've given the housewife a clue on what to talk about. They've said so much about it, and it was no longer making sense. Try as much as possible and cut it. But Oti just kept quiet and was just looking at them. He didn't have control over the show, and it wasn't making any sort of sense. And then next thing is that they kept quiet for a while, and then Uti now calls Miriam, come, the show is about to kickstart. Next thing is that once immediately Uti left to go get Miriam, of which I did not even know the essence of actually standing up from his seat and going to pick Miriam.
Miriam, you can come back now. We're done.
You sit down and just want to rubbish people's lives. For what?
Should I come and bring you back?
For what?
I can bring you back
camera
myself.
doesn't lie. You showed yourself. I don't need to prove
I
anything.
showed myself that what?
I don't need to prove anything. It's
Showed
clear.
myself
It's
that
clear.
what?
It's clear. You have an issue.
When Miriam left that seat, you are not the one that took Miriam out. If Miriam is tired of the show, she should leave. It's as simple as that. So I don't understand why Uti actually stood up from his seat and went. I was going to go and get Miriam. At the point in time, I was like, is this scripted? Did Uti just leave so that they would actually act this part that I'm about to say? Because it wasn't making, because maybe Uti left. That was when Toyin got up and now went to meet Chioma. And that was very fast. Like, we didn't see it coming because it wasn't something that would warrant a fight. It wasn't something that would warrant Toyin actually getting angry, and then Toyin goes up to go and meet Chioma and say, I will slap you. Like, she almost dived on Chioma.
Why are you having a complex?
My dear,
I think I'm better than who? I think I'm better than who? I think I'm better than who?
What's your complex? I think I'm better than you. Don't try me. I will slap your fucking face.
If not Iyabo was fast enough to actually hold on to Toyin. If not, that hand, that slap for Chioma. Like, but Iyabo was very fast. So at the point in time, in my head I was like, well, this is really scripted. But it doesn't make sense. Mainly Uti left, Toyin stood up and was going to go and slap. Sometimes things are scripted. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Sometimes they are scripted just so that they can gain more followers. But let's assume it wasn't scripted. So that's how they just kept Toyin just kept going back and forth. I will slap you, all of that. And in my head, I'm like, this is uncalled for, first and foremost. Now let me give you this two illustrations. When Toyin and Caroline were having their own altercations, that was last week, Chioma sat down and was smiling. She didn't even try to hold things back. But I feel personally, I don't think she should have actually held them, because the conversation they were having was actually dirty and it had to involve the two of them. But this time around, it now involved Toyin and Chioma, and Caroline from her seat now was trying to caution Toyin, like, Toyin, you're going too much, you need to stop.
Saying, what are you doing, Toyin? You shouldn't go this far. What are you saying? Come on, Toyin.
What are you saying? It's failing her. The truth is bitter.
What is all this now?
The truth is bitter. Who's talking about your
Toyin,
life?
stop it now. Stop it.
Who's talking about?
So you could see that Caroline still had Chioma's back. For whatever reasons, I do not know. But I feel if I'm the one to, I think I'll actually say the same thing, because Toyin was actually doing too much at this point in time. Because when Toyin and Caroline had their own altercation, it was a dirty altercation, if you know. It was very dirty, but Toyin never stood up to go attack Caroline, because obviously I'm sure Toyin would have noticed that Caroline actually stood up for herself when Caroline and Lara had an altercation. So Toyin in her head, like, I cannot mess up with this, I cannot mess with this girl. So I'm sure that's why Toyin did not go and attack Caroline when they had their own altercation, because theirs was more dirty than the altercation between Toyin and Chioma. And then all of a sudden we now see Toyin coming to attack Chioma for whatever reasons I do not know. It was uncalled for. So I don't know whether it was like a past aggression from Caroline to Chioma, but at the same time that is called bullying. You did not attack Caroline, but because you feel you can't attack Chioma, you now came to attack Chioma.
The truth is bitter. Caroline exposed you. You couldn't slap her. You want to come to me.
And I don't know. I feel Toyin, if you leave Toyin and Chioma to fight, I think Toyin might beat Chioma, because Chioma is a body, So I feel Toyin had actually weighed that and feel, oh, you know what? I think I'm stronger than this lady, so let me go and attack her. It was just not called for, really, because it's just in plain English, it's called bullying. That is bullying. Because you feel you can beat someone, because you feel you can oppress somebody, you now go ahead to try and oppress that person. I think it's just so uncalled for. And then the show went on, should I say, on halftime. So they now went on break for like 2 hours. They were trying to console or comfort or whatever, trying to calm Toyin down. Even Toyin's husband had to come on set and try and calm her down. And after a while, they now came back after 2 hours, like, for something that did not just make any sort of sense, like for something that we would have just overlooked. They just had to waste our time that they would have used in giving us some vital information of what went down on the show. They just wasted it like that for not just cause. It's annoying me, because that is precious time that we need. You get. They now came back onto the show, and then we now see Uti asking some irrelevant question. Hope all the ladies are calm now and all that. It was just uncalled for, Uti, if you ask me. So they now moved on to the whole friendship goals between Chioma and Caroline. See, yeah, that friendship or that bond these two people had, I loved it. Even when they were trying to show us from like a preview of what happened on the show about their whole friendship, I was very happy. Like I was smiling sheepishly at the clips they were showing us, because that is one friendship that you look at and say, like, it was just like love, according to what Uti would call is love at first sight. I loved that friendship. I loved the bond they had. It was a genuine friendship for each other. Even in Caroline's confessions, you could see the way Caroline was really hyping her babe. Like, Caroline was happy about her. Caroline was happy for her. Caroline was not even trying to mince words when it came to Chioma. She gave in her all. Same thing with Chioma. Chioma was always hyping Caroline as well. Even when they went for that dinner at the one that Chioma organized in Abuja, you could see the way they expressed themselves and talking about themselves, how they like themselves and what bonded them together and all that. So it's now surprising that people that were very, very close, like all of a sudden things just went like it's not just making sense if you ask me, but we'll get into that. So Uti just was now asking them what's up with their whole friendship, what made them bond at first sight, and then Chioma goes ahead to say, oh, that she herself can't really pinpoint what actually did, how they actually bonded, but all she could remember that when they went for lunch or dinner, I can't remember which of them, they got talking and then they got so into themselves, and then he asked them, Caroline, what's up? And then Caroline said, well, she feels because they are of the same horoscope, so she feels that's why they actually bonded and they actually clicked immediately. Caroline also talked about being a customer to Chioma Good Hair. Like, she had patronized Chioma several times some years back, and only for her to see her on the show, and she actually thought that Chioma would give her that whole bossy attitude thing, but Chioma actually gave her one smile. Chioma was welcoming, and that whole attitude of welcoming and all that made her draw closer to Chioma. Because see, the truth is, smile does a lot. Even if you are someone that has a strong heart inside, once you just smile, you tend to draw more people to yourself. So, and Lucy went ahead to ask, okay, what actually caused the downfalls in their relationship, the red flags, if they ever noticed the red flags in their whole friendship. And then Chioma went ahead to say, well, for her, when she noticed the red flag in the friendship is when Chioma and Caroline actually tried to sweep her under the box. You remember when Caroline and Lara had an altercation? That is when Iyabo actually invited them for a reconciliation, and then Caroline went ahead to say something that Chioma said to Lara. And after Caroline had said that, Laura was actually in shock and was looking at Chioma to actually agree or disagree with that statement. And what did Chioma do? Chioma was looking in shock, like, Caroline, when did I ever tell you something like this? So it now became surprising to Caroline, like, but you told me something like that, but she didn't say it at that moment. So after everything now, Chioma and Caroline actually met when they went shopping for tiles and all of that, and then Chioma went ahead to say, I didn't expect you to say certain things like this and all of that. So this is what made gave like what will you say? This is what gave Chioma the red flag, or this is the signs that Caroline exhibited that gave Chioma that made it seem like a red flag for Chioma. Does that make any sort of sense? So according to Caroline, I can't tell you things and then you try to use it against me when I am there. You can't be saying Chioma said this when I'm there. No, anything you tell me goes to the grave with me, even if we have a misunderstanding later in the future. And it's funny how she actually contradicted herself towards the end of this reunion. So according to that's the red flag Chioma actually saw. Then Uti asked Caroline the same question: what are the red flags you saw in this friendship? And Caroline went ahead and say, well, funny enough, I wasn't watching out, I wasn't at the look, I wasn't in the look for any red flags. My whole focus was on Lara because she was the only one giving us negative vibes and all that. So she wasn't actually looking out for any bad attitude or any red flags in Chioma. So she wouldn't say that she noticed any red flag, and which is actually true. What you're looking for, you will find. Uti went ahead to ask the housemates what they thought about the whole Caroline and Chioma's whole issue about putting Chioma under the bus. And then Miriam went ahead to say, well, personally for her, as a friend, if I tell you something, you shouldn't go and be saying it outside. He asked Iyabo the same thing, and Iyabo was just giving us this I don't just understand what that reaction was, because I feel it was uncalled for. then Uti just had to say, you know what, Iyabo, can you put your expressions into words? And then Iyabo goes ahead to say, well, personally, she feels that what Caroline meant is by saying that is that she wanted Chioma to come by her side. Like, that's what friends do. When I'm having an altercation with somebody, I call you so that you can be on my side. But it was more like Chioma was like, fight your fight, this is your battle, so just let me be. So out to the conversation, what do you think? If you're, let me put it this way, are your friends enemy your enemy, or do you just say, see, you're my friend, but you see this enemy, it's not so fast, I'll do the enemy together? You know, we ladies are fond of that. Once someone is your enemy, once your friends, how do I put this now, your friend's enemy is also your enemy. It doesn't make any sort of sense at all. I personally, I don't buy that idea. If you have a beef with somebody, go sort your beef out. Don't get me involved in it. Then we move on to Dubai, that everything happened. Uti or the producers get to show us what happened, or get to show us clips basically about the Dubai trip. First and foremost, it showed us about the whole Caroline missing her $43,000 bracelet. Then they now go ahead to show us the whole Miriam and what's her name again, Miriam and Toyin's whole disagreement about the bed they were given. So now let me talk about Caroline's bracelet. First and foremost, I don't like the fact that they did not talk about it very well. They didn't address that issue very well. I don't know, maybe they didn't want to address it very well so that it's not be like they're trying to drag Caroline. Because at the point in time on social media when she actually said that, people actually felt she was exaggerating it, and they were like, all of that. So there's a way you actually bring up a topic and people will just feel like I trying to mock her. So I feel I'm trying to justify the producers now. Maybe they didn't want to talk elaborately on that so that it doesn't seem like they're trying to drag Caroline. Let me just give them benefit of the doubt. So what do you think? Should we give them that benefit of the doubt, or they don't just care about Caroline? Because I don't know whether to say at some point it was as if they were just attacking Caroline left, right, center. They were just attacking Caroline, and then the main person that caused trouble during the show has been quiet. Like, she didn't say much during this reunion. That is Lara. She didn't say much during this reunion. So I was just wondering what's up. Now let's talk about Miriam and Toyin. So they had that altercation. Well, it's not really an altercation to say. They just settled it because you know what, their best friend that is that they decided to just give Lara space if she comes with drama. But lucky for Lara, she coordinated herself and actually apologized to the ladies that she wanted to reunite with the ladies per se and let them just be one basically. But I think Caroline was not having any of that because this is an agreement that the housewife had reached. So Caroline is not happy that they're actually talking to Lara, and does it make any sort of sense? No, it doesn't make any sort of sense. Yes, people are enemies, but when she has apologized, I think you guys should move on. So I think that was what caused the whole problem between them. So Iyabo is trying to explain that, you know what, because they were now talking to Lara, this lady, Caroline, had started giving them negative vibes, like this is not what we agreed on, so why are you people now talking to her and all of that. And before then, Caroline and Toyin had already had a little altercation before then, and then only for Caroline to come out from the, I think, where was that? So I think they were at the yacht by then. Only for Caroline to come out and see Iyabo, Toyin and what's her name, Lara, having a conversation, and obviously Caroline was not happy about it because she felt they were talking about her, or they were talking about something related to them. Meanwhile, they were talking about something that was completely out of what they were doing at that moment. Like, they were talking basically something out of the whole Tiana's birthday and all of that. So that was what caused the whole altercation between them. And then you now go ahead to hit Iyabo now goes ahead to say, well, the apology that what's her name, that Caroline gave was not necessary at that point in time, because all that she needed at that point in time was for them to let her be. She wanted to just soak in everything. She just needed her space. And now boils down to, okay, now who do we blame for all of this? Chioma was forcing her friend. Caroline to go and apologize to Yabo because Yabo was hot. And all Yabo needed at that point in time is space. See, we need to learn how to understand people and let people be. Obviously, Caroline was not going to apologize at that point in time. Maybe she wanted to apologize later. Maybe she's that kind of person that she wants to absorb everything first and know whether she should be remorseful about it or not. But Chioma just kept pushing. Go and apologize to Yabo. Go and apologize to Yabo. And in Yabo's space, in Yabo's mind, all she needed at that point in time is space. But because Chioma just kept pushing, definitely when someone pushes you to make an apology, it might not come out sincerely. I remember very well during when Miriam invited the ladies for dinner, even Chioma just kept, even during her confession, she said something like, I've apologized, I've said I'm sorry, and I do not appreciate if you keep pushing me to say I'm sorry. So now why are you now pushing Caroline to go ahead and keep apologizing? It didn't just make any sort of sense, if you ask me. And I think that was what actually caused the major problem. Iyabo needed space, and Chioma is pushing Caroline to go and apologize. See, I think at this point in time, it's good that everybody knows. You should know yourself, because if only Caroline knew herself, I maybe that push that Chioma was doing, she shouldn't have actually fallen for it. She would have said, you know what, Chioma, I've heard you, I'll apologize at my own time. Maybe it wouldn't have been in this mess at this point in time. You get, because it wasn't making any sort of sense. And then further was happening, and what's her name, Caroline actually gave Iyabo gifts, and Iyabo actually returned this. And that spirit of gifts, another thing just happened because Maya just wanted to show herself. So apparently, I don't think this was shown during the whole show. Apparently, Caroline had actually given Miriam a gift, but I don't think that it was actually shown. Then Mariana says, oh, you know what, in the spirit of gift, I actually have a gift for Caroline. And Caroline just sensed it. Caroline said, is it the gift I gave to you? She said she doesn't know until you open it. So Caroline goes ahead, open it, and it happens to be that it is the gift she gifted Miriam that Miriam actually gifted her back. What's the reasons for giving her back? So the gist is that Caroline told Chioma that Miriam is doing jazz. Miriam is using destiny of people. In my head, I'm like, where all this coming from? These are matured ladies that we shouldn't be having this conversation. If you feel someone is a witch, if you feel someone is taking your destiny, why are you on the same show with that person? Because if someone is a witch from Nigerian movie, Nollywood, we will see that even just by eating with you, they'll just look at your food like this, and then they put jazz in your food, or they're taking your destiny. So it didn't make any sort of sense for you to say, oh, that see, it was really irritating to listen to. Say Miriam uses jazz. Miriam, they shouldn't eat in Miriam's house because she's going to use their destiny and all of that. They just kept having that back and forth. That is between now Caroline and Chioma, and I'm like, no, this is dirty. Like, there are some conversations that shouldn't even be brought up in the first place. Like, it doesn't even make any sort of sense. So that boils down to what I was saying. Chioma saying that if you're my friend, whatever you tell me, I get to keep it to myself, even if we are in disagreement. So if Chioma is actually sticking by these words, why then we do not come and tell people that this is what Caroline said if she actually said it? You see, it doesn't make any sort of sense. She was actually contradicting herself at this point in time. Is it because she was angry or because she wanted to get at Caroline? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. So what do you think about this whole show? Because right now I'm actually very tired because it is weakening my whole bone marrow. So what do you think about it? Season 2, I don't know if season 2 will come up, but which of the housemates do you think should be retained in the next season? Which of the housemates do you think should leave? Let me also know in the comment section. I'll see you all later, and bye.